Look at this painting. It's like a scene from a movie. Daylight in the background, two women are about to enter the church, one carrying a baby who is about to be baptized. The audience is inside, watching them arrive, just like the person looking at the painting. This very modern composition is the work of Norwegian painter Harriet Backer. She is one of the most famous Norwegian painters of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. She is particularly famous for her paintings of the interiors of houses, farms and churches, with her unique use of light and colour. Harriet Backer was born to a family of merchants in Holmestrand, southern Norway. The family moved to Christiania, Oslo, in 1857. From 1860 to 1874, she attended art classes for young girls. But she didn't wait until the end of her studies to make original paintings, as shown by this canvas, Little Red Riding Hood. The red colour of the child's velvet bonnet stands out brightly in the centre of an ensemble ranging in tones from dark green to brown. Harriet Backer was 27 years old when she painted it. In 1878, she painted this picture of a young woman leaving her family. Harriet Backer might be evoking her departure and her journeys with her sister, the famous composer and pianist Agathe Backer Grøndahl, who studied in Germany at the New Academy of Music in Berlin and with Franz Liszt in Weimar. Music is present throughout Harriet Backer's life and work. It influenced not only her subjects, but also the rhythm of her brushstrokes, as if she was painting while listening to melodies. The piano can be seen in several of her paintings. And her sister is often depicted playing. Harriet Backer went abroad to continue her artistic training. In Italy, she had the opportunity to study classical and Renaissance art, but most of all in Germany, in Munich, at a time where women still had no access to the Academy of Arts. She benefited from private lessons from some of Munich's best painters. There, she made friends with Norwegian artists, such as Eilif Petersen, and formed a long-lasting circle of supportive women painters, such as Asta Norregard, sometimes depicted in her paintings. She also met Kitty Kieland, with whom she became close and lived most of her life. Harriet Backer continued her training in Paris, where she lived for 10 years, between 1878 and 1888. This period abroad had a great influence on her work. She was taught by the academic painters Léon Bonnat and Jean-Léon Gérôme, among others. She began to take an interest in the effects of light and colour, particularly through her discovery of Claude Monet and the other Impressionist painters. The painting, Blått Interiør, Blue Interior, 1883, is often considered one of Harriet Backer's major works. It shows her mastery of light. The artist brings the outside world inside the room, thanks to the effect of light. Look at the painting. The different shades of blue show how the light coming through the window changes the colour of the room. The light illuminates the ground and produces a halo. With this small painting of the sea, reminiscent of Impressionist canvases, the painter gives the impression of a window onto the outside world. Throughout her life, Harriet Backer was interested in light and its effects on the portraits and interiors she painted. Observe where the light comes from and the effect it has on the paintings. She painted calm, peaceful, middle-class interiors, like this painting she did in Paris. When she returned to Norway, she painted more rustic farmhouse interiors, but always magnificently lit by natural light. Or churches, with their many decorations and colours. Her painting Interior of Udvalstav highlights her use of lively, light brushstrokes to better convey the effect of light. We can see here her taste for Norwegian culture, which she likes to show in her paintings in a realistic way, like these working women blending into the landscape. Still life allowed her to play with the frame, geometric shapes and patterns, a little like the painter Paul Cézanne, but in a more realistic way. Harriet Backer was valued and respected in her own country. She was the first woman to sit on the board of directors and the acquisitions committee of the National Gallery of Norway for 20 years. She set up an art school in Christiania to provide young women and young men with an artistic education. Her independence and commitment make her a role model for a new generation of women. Her works are exhibited at the National Museum Oslo and in the Rasmus Meyer collection in Bergen. A major retrospective of her work was held in 2024, organised by the National Museum Oslo, the Code Bergen Art Museum, in collaboration with the National Museum Stockholm and the Musée d'Orsay, Paris.